Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be talking about how to make a consistent $10,000 a month as a trainer, and we're going to start the video right now. All right, so this is going to be a different topic here today. I'm in a different location as well. This is something I've really been wanting to do for a while now, and now being in a different location gives me all the opportunity to be able to do that. I do a lot of different performance breakdowns, help different coaches in being able to understand, quarterback mechanics, sprinting mechanics, just being able to do general lifting, and now I want to go a little bit more into building an actual business and some of the things that really worked for me and some of the things that I think I wish I would have started implementing sooner. And like I do with the breakdowns and what I do with being able to help athletes, I want to apply the same principles to the coaches as well, just because I think a lot of the fundamentals are things that, again, I wish I would have known. And just to give you a little bit more information about me, I did make my first 10,000 in a month when I think I was 25, maybe 26, somewhere in there. And by the time I was probably middle to end of being 26, I was making $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and was able to sustain that for a good period of time there, and really kind of isolated, just that amount, and then I started being able to grow it from there, right? The first thing that I say when, talking to trainers and being able to help out, the best way I can from a business perspective is, really isolate the niche, right? What is it you want to be able to work with? I made this mistake, right? So when I first started, I was doing a lot more on like a rehab side and, trying to really assess movement, I had the whole, camera system. I'm more into sports development, right? I'm more into performance and being able to achieve on a high level. And so, I still use some of the stuff that I learned from, doing the camera system and, going into different parts of like physical therapy. And a lot of that stuff is still beneficial from a training perspective, but the big thing is you got to isolate your niche, right? Who is your target customer? Who is it that you want to be able to work with, and what makes you different, right? And once you can start to, one is establish that niche, right? Establish what is your specialty, what are you going to be great at, what's going to separate you from all the other, trainers in your area or maybe in the world, right? Then we want to be able to go into the ability to demonstrate the value behind it. So why is it important? Why is, if it's rehab or, being able to help people lose weight, be able to help people run faster, whatever the case may be, learn how to lift weights, right? Why is that beneficial? Why is that important? Why is that going to be something that they're going to be able to benefit a ton from? And the more you can understand that, right, the more you can be able to explain it, then the more value you're going to be able to show to a potential customer, right? Because that ends up being, the big thing, and that goes right into number 3, which is being able to, charge a higher ticket, right? So, as you start to be able to specialize and create your niche and be able to have results within that niche, now that you'll be able to better explain the information and you'll be able to create more of a understanding of where there's value and why it's important, and now you have to be able to really create value in what it is that you're doing. And what that is, essentially charging more. Right, you got to be able to charge $100, $150 per hour, maybe even $200 per hour for what it is that you're doing. And you got to be able to make sure that you spend the time to be able to see what is it that really isolates you so then you could also show why that it would be that valuable. I don't charge $200 an hour for what it is that I do, but I do charge between $100 and $150 an hour, and there are times when going in groups and stuff like that where I definitely make over $200 in an hour. So the main thing though is being able to for one, be able to start to overcharge, and then another thing is create packages, right? Create things that will make it so you can get bigger amounts of money sooner. So when you can get maybe a package of 10 or 12 or 20 sessions, and figure out how that works for you. But if you can sell that, then now you got the commitment, which is going to help you in being able to really establish what it is that you're doing in your niche and why there's value, right? So that's why it's a great thing. And then it also makes it so now you have money in the bank. Now you have something you can do to be able to whatever, hire somebody, spend it for ads, pay your rent, whatever ends up being the case. The more you could do packages where you can get a lot more money up front. It creates more commitment out of them, and it also makes it so now you have some active capital that you can start utilizing. And it also makes it easier to be able to set up the sessions, right? Because now it's just like, okay, coming on Tuesday or coming on Thursday, there doesn't have to be a money thing every single time that you connect with the person. I think that makes it a little bit easier. And the fourth thing, and this is why I'm in this location right now, is you got to be able to educate yourself, right? I flew out to Miami. I was supposed to be back yesterday. I'm doing this video here in the hotel room because now all of my videos are off and everything, and but I came out to educate myself, to learn more about marketing, to figure out I spent a good amount of money to be able to come out here, take the time off, and also actually go to the workshop. It's an expensive thing to be able to go to, but the more you invest into yourself, then the more understanding you have and the more people are going to be willing to invest into you. So you have to be able to educate yourself. You have to be willing to spend the money to be able to really acquire the skills that are going to continue to elevate you overall. So, the biggest thing that I would say, I know this is number 4, but this ends up being really the most important thing in being able to really separate yourself, is investing in yourself. Because there's so many people that are trainers that are not willing to invest. They'll go and maybe spend some time with a trainer or do stuff like that, but there's really not a lot of people that are willing to invest in themselves. And as you start to invest more and more into yourself, now making it so the packages or your per hour sessions are more expensive is something that you're just like, yeah, that's how expensive my time is, right? So now you could really start to be able to say, this is what my time is going to be worth, and you could either pay me that or not. But if you don't pay me, then that's fine. You have other things to do. There's other parts of for me, my brand that I need to be able to build up. I have all the different website stuff. I have different employees that are working for that I'm working with. I have blogs. I have videos to be made. So I don't need to have an additional client that I'm working with in order to do anything. It's not going to make it so now all of a sudden everything has changed, right? So you got to be able to build yourself up to where you don't need to have an additional person that is going to come and work with you, and that will make it so now it's a lot easier to sell what it is that you're selling, right? But if you really are like, oh no, I need this, I need to get another person, then it's a little bit harder to be able to really attract more customers. At least that's in my opinion. You want to be able to, have the ability to convince somebody, and if they, decide not to do it, then that's fine. You obviously want to be able to acquire the clients. So I'm not saying, I don't want to have more clients. I always want to have more clients, but I want to have more clients that are willing to pay me what I'm worth. I'm not going to go and drop my prices to be able to work with somebody, because that just doesn't make sense for me. And the fifth thing is you got to go outside your area, right? And so that means you got to go and talk to people more, right? Whether you want to do a podcast or, go out to lunch, go out to dinner, whatever the case may be, go talk with other trainers, go to other gyms. You got to get yourself out there. Talk to physical therapists, talk to doctors, talk to agents maybe. There's a ton of different people that work within this space. You got to be willing to go out and talk to people in order to make it so now there's interest around what it is that you're doing. If you don't have the confidence enough in what you're doing to be able to talk to other people about it, then the likelihood of more people coming in is very low. And also there's not going to be very much just natural attraction to it, right? If you go and you start talking to people about what it is that you're doing, or making videos, you can start with even doing something like this, going on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and just being able to showcase what it is that you're doing. These are all ways to be able to at least get more eyes to what you're doing, to make it so there's more attraction to what you're doing, to make it so there's a reason for people to talk about you. And as that starts to happen, as you start to get more attention, it'll make it so then your business grows. So that's going to be a big thing that you want to be able to do, is you got to get outside your area. You got to get a little uncomfortable. You can't just continue to sit at home and watch YouTube videos like this and think that you're going to be able to really start building your business. There's got to be action behind it. You obviously have the intent. Now you got to be able to put the action behind it. And then the sixth thing is you got to be able to delegate or expand, right? You got to be willing to, spend a little bit of money on, advertising. You got to be willing to spend some money on an assistant. You got to be willing to spend some money to make it so you can really grow. There's going to be a time where, you get to 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and now you start to get overworked. There's just so much that you're doing from just a pure training perspective, and it's just not sustainable. Right? You have to be able to delegate. You have to be able to find a way to make it so other people are doing the jobs that you're doing. And luckily for me, I got to get started by being able to learn this at a very early age, and I'm still not great at it, but it's something that I'm constantly being able to work on and improve. And that's just being able to manage people and being able to run a business, right? You got to make it into a business. It can't just be you. There's no way you're going to really expand. You're going to be able to consistently make over $10,000 if you don't make it, if it's not just you, right? You'll get to a point where you're just going to be overworked. You got to have the wherewithal to start spending some money on some different employees, some different people that will come and either do training with you, again, market for you, get your name out there for you, handle some day-to-day stuff, right? Sending out emails, getting reviews, testimonials, doing some stuff on your website. Those are all very, very important things. SEO, blogs, all those types of things are really important. Get you in touch with maybe other podcasts, or get you in touch with other physical therapists or trainers, whatever the case may be. You got to be able to get yourself out there, and you got to be able to delegate some of those tasks in order to make it so now you could really set yourself up to be able to expand. An important thing is you got to be willing to hire. And I made some hiring mistakes, but now it makes it a lot better for me, because now I know exactly how to be able to recognize those and what are the people that I work well with and things like that. So you're going to make some mistakes along the way, and don't be afraid to make those mistakes, because all it's going to do is help you grow and help you expand and make it so now you can get a better understanding of what's going to work for you in the future. And a lot of you guys that are probably watching this are young, right? You have a lot of time, you have a lot of ability. I go to these different camps or talk to these people, these business people, and it's like, you got to be ahead of the game, right? And so the sooner you can get started with this stuff, then the sooner you're going to be able to get ahead. And a lot of these guys are older and still are not able to figure out some of the things that I think I've been able to figure out at an early age. So the earlier you can get going, the earlier you can get started, the earlier you can start to do these 6 things, the better responses you're going to get and the better results you're going to get, and the more ahead you're going to be able to be of the people around you. And that's going to just make it so your business will be just that much more valuable, and there'll be so much more potential for it to grow in the long term. So I hope you guys like the information. I think this is going to be great for again, any type of coaches, trainers looking to be able to make some more money on a monthly basis. And if you guys want to check out the quarterback biomechanics course, you can go ahead and click the description down below in order to find out more about that. I am doing a speed thing. I'm working on being able to work with speed coaches as well. I do think that that's really where you want to be able to get the most information is as a speed coach. It's really hard to be able to generate consistent income a lot of times. And so being able to find some unique ways to be able to differentiate yourself or really show your overall value is going to be really important here. And that's where we go to 1 and 2 to really be able to establish that. And so as a speed coach, you got to be able to charge for what it is that you're doing. Don't undercharge for that, and really be able to explain why there's value in what it is that you're doing, and that will really get you started in being able to start to make some good money, and then you can start to be able to go through the process from there. So yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. You can go ahead and I'll have my email down below in order to reach out. And yeah, quarterback coaches that are watching this, check out that quarterback biomechanics course. We're going to be going over this type of stuff as well. Obviously go more in depth into how I built my business. What are some of the things that I do, my CRMs, some of the scheduling tools that I use in order to make it so I can set up things with different quarterbacks. And then also what are some of the website things that I do to really be able to yeah, just have a great presence online. So as always, thanks for watching. Click that like button, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, recommendations, leave those down below. We'll talk to you soon.